Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Common Council of the City of Huntington for March 31st, 2026. Prior to the beginning of the business meeting this evening, we'll have an invocation led by Pastor Jimmy Staten of New Life Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Krista McElhaney. Those who wish to participate in one or both may rise at this time.
Let's pray. Father, Lord, we do thank you for the day that you have given to us and provided for us, and to business at the end of the day, and Lord, that is the city's business here. So we just pray, Father, that you just be the mayor and council. We pray, Father, for them and those who have brought other things to the table tonight. Just pray, Father, Lord, you give unity. We pray, Father, that you would just be with each one, Lord, that have ears to hear and eyes to see what the others would say. And we just give you this day, give you this meeting today. Thank you again for leadership here in all the areas of this community. We thank you and we ask you to bless them and bless the mayor and this council in Christ's name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And with that, then, we will call the business meeting to order, beginning with a roll call. Christie?
Brodicom.
Present.
Chapman.
Present.
Felton.
Present.
Funk.
Yes.
Johnson.
Here.
Pike. Yes. Rensberger.
Present.
Thank you. And having established a quorum for the conducting of city business, we'll move along to first item on the agenda. We have minutes from the previous meeting of March 10th. Is there a motion to bring those to the floor for consideration and adoption as submitted?
So moved. Second.
A motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes as submitted. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as submitted. Christie?
Chapman.
Yes.
Felton.
Yes.
Funk.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Pike. Rensberger.
Yes.
Brodicom.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are adopted. Moving along to reports from committees, boards, or commissions. Before our formal update and presentation this evening, we'll have city council updates. Charlie?
I have nothing, thank you.
Paul? Yeah, nothing here. Dwight?
Nothing here.
PJ?
Nothing here.
Todd?
Same. Nothing here.
Todd, did HQ have any big news this week?
Yes, but I haven't read the email yet. I know we got a new director. I just don't know who he is.
There we go. We have a new director, Chris Martin, at HQ. We'll look forward to a full update and introduction at the next meeting. Andrew?
Nothing here.
David? Graydon?
I have nothing.
All right, thank you. With that then, I'd like to proceed with an update on the city building renovation project. I'm going to invite Director Cuttress to come forward with us this evening, as well our members of the design team and the construction firm to answer and provide more information for council. Council, for your awareness, this is an update again of projects we've been talking about for several years. Give you some of the details as things have taken shape. And really, as things have really become finalized over the last few weeks, this was the first opportunity to bring everything to you. So, Director Cuttress.
Yes, thank you. As the Mayor mentioned, I want to provide an update on the upcoming renovation to the city building. With us here tonight, we've got Adam Whitmer from Hagerman, the main construction firm behind the remodel. And then we've got Brian Bolander and Amy Sanchez from Barton Cove Element, the architects, working on the design of this building. We've essentially, the city building remodel has been talked about for many years. The last time it saw a remodel was 1988, 1989. So we're coming up on 36, 37 years since anything substantial has been done to this building as far as mechanicals, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, even some of it as simple as just a general facelift. So we are reaching the end of the lifespan on some of our mechanicals. Some of the units have already died and we've replaced them over the years. We actually have several air conditioning units that don't work right now, but it's not worth replacing them with this remodel coming. So with that, I want to turn it over to start out with to Brian from Barton Covilma, kind of give a overview on how the whole project really got started, and then we'll move into some other items from there. So.
Thank you, Adam, Council, and Mayor. So to explain the process a little bit, we started with a kind of extensive study phase with some early, I would say, I call it preliminary cost estimating. And once the city opted to move forward with the project, we started what's known as a construction manager as constructor, CMC, delivery method. So that allowed us, Barton Covilma, the city, and Hagerman to essentially form a team. Design team members, us as architects and engineers, Hagerman as the construction and constructability, cost estimating experts, and then the city to bring to the table all the wants and needs on the city side in terms of functionality and improvements to be made. So since starting that process in earnest, we've had about 18 design team meetings. So those include the architecture, engineering, interiors team, representatives from Hagerman and representatives from the city, all coming together, starting with kind of big picture decisions and then working our way through all the details. So that was about a 7-month process. We worked through several milestones between our office and Hagerman's office, even when we're not in meetings with the city. We call those schematic design, design development, construction document reviews. That also involves some cost estimating at each of those milestones to bring back subsequent meetings to inform decisions, and also work together with Hagerman's team on what I'd call more invasive investigation, like removing a window from the building if you saw that out. Remove the windows and trim, look at the condition of those windows, and one of the alternate bids that you would see in the cost summary is replacement of the windows, and the design and constructability information that went into that pricing is based on being able to do that investigation with a contractor like Hagerman during the design phase instead of opening that up after bids are opened and maybe being surprised with something. So that's kind of the team effort aspect of it, and appropriate to take questions about that yet? Or
Adam Whitmer with Hagerman. Pleasure to meet you all tonight. I'm going to touch on the cost analysis of what happened with the bidding process, all that real quick. There's not a lot to it. A lot leading up to it. So we went through all that process, and just prior to that, SME had produced a report a month prior to bid time that gave us some intel that there's some lead abatement that was going to be necessary in this project. We were not able to carry that as its own package and react fast enough. So we have included in the numbers I'm going to give you $100,000 for lead abatement. That is a worst case scenario. We're treating that as a not to exceed, and every dollar that doesn't get spent out of that category goes back to the city. That's how that typically works on a cost plus CMC arrangement anyway. So any dollars we save as a construction firm, the city gets back. We don't have any shared savings agreements or anything like that. So that's the intent with a lot of the alternates too. We've got just a handful of things when you're looking at a building with this age that are a little bit unforeseen and unknown. You dive in and there's a lot of secrets behind the walls. So we've got a reasonable contingency included in this, about $360,000+. We feel that's responsible for the amount of risk that is unknown with the age of the building and all the previous construction and things that have happened of that nature. So hard cost plus all your soft costs, and I can be clear on hard costs. Hard costs would be bid packages were bid lump sum by all the subcontractors in the community, including ourselves who did a couple of the packages. That includes our management staff fees that were negotiated at the time of contract. That also includes a contingency in our bonds and insurance. Outside of that, well, our fee is, outside of that, cost for design and all that is outside of it. And then the owner's cost to be determined, finalized on the lead abatement is outside of that. Those would be considered soft costs as long as FF&E, but we don't have enough FF&E in this budget for us that we're carrying. So that number total was $8,494,000. I would say the total hard cost is about 7.65. I think the hard cost really when you went without our fee and stuff, contingency and general conditions and all the basic bid package. That includes the So I think what was it with the alternates that are setting to be accepted, the bid packages, the bid work was just under 6.7 million. Well, we actually, so our bids got opened at the same time everybody else's. We were successful on general trades and concrete.
So, just one thing I want to add about the CMC process is there is a requirement, or there's a statutory requirement in state law that Hagerman, as the general contractor on this, can't perform more than 30% of the work. So the rest of that, the entire project had to be publicly bid, which it was. They are only allowed to self-perform up to 30%. So that keeps them from locking out subcontractors.
And really, a positive note, our Hagerman team, that's a separate entity from the construction manager side of things, they had a lot of questions on what the conditions of these really thick walls are going to be, and there was a little bit of unsureness, just open questions. We've elected to take a portion of their contract as well and treat that as a not to exceed, and they've offered any savings back to the city that they don't need to use for cost of construction for openings. And that's another thing, I'm glad you asked that. So the way the fees were proposed on this project, and something I really like what Barton Oklahoma's been doing recently, is they ask us for a monthly rate. So you have this anticipated schedule at the time of CMC selection, which is we know just about as much of the project as you guys do at that time as far as details and what's going to go into it, what's actually going to come of it. So we figure out what's the appropriate staff to handle a project of this size and nature and complexity. So we take that all in an envelope, vacuum, and say, okay, here's the staff that needs to be dedicated to this project at this much time of their month. So typically, you'll find that'll run sometimes in the 20 to 40% range. As a whole, you may have higher, you know, your superintendent's 100%, your project engineer might be 50%, but your project manager might be 30%. Sometimes that lowers as the rank gets higher. So if we can drive the schedule and condense it, that will ultimately save money as well on the project. So if we shave a month off, I can't remember, is 25 plus thousand a month. So if we shave months, that adds up pretty quick. So we'll know, once everything gets exposed, we'll be able to foresee if there is a potential savings there.
So that's a high-level overview of the cost of the project, and what I'd like you guys to share a little bit more for council's benefit, share a little bit about the ongoing conversations with Duke Energy regarding rebates on equipment for improved efficiencies, what we anticipate with some of our energy costs right now and the experience we've had with the mechanicals the last 2 years in heating and cooling systems, seasons, and as well as the unique water utilization in this building and what those costs were when we bill ourselves the way we bill anyone else in the city. So go ahead, Em.
Yeah, so I'll start with touching on a few of those things, and then I'll turn it over to Brian again with Bart and Co. to touch on some of the efficiencies. To start off with, our current HVAC system, when it was originally installed, again, 36 years ago, was a very unique system in the way it was originally put together. It acted essentially as a geothermal system where we brought water in from the city's water main, brought it into the building, essentially treated and then ran it through the loop, lack of a better definition, and then discharged it back out into the water main. That acted as the ground loop of a geothermal system. Regulations have changed multiple times since then. When we had some pumping failure, some equipment failure in the basement about a little over 2 years ago, we learned that what we were doing is no longer allowed, so we had to make changes to the HVAC system. We still were bringing water in. The current system right now still brings water in from the raw water main, but we are not allowed to discharge it back to the water system. That runs into some cross-contamination, backflow prevention kind of regulations that are in place now. So now what happens is the water comes in, we run it through the system, we discharge it to the sewer. And the city, like any of our other facilities, we pay our own water bills. I had a report run by water billing on that specific water meter for this building. Since September of 2024, it's cost the city about $100,000 in water usage to cool this building. We've tweaked the system, fine-tuned it. We've got the water bills down significantly on that system, but it's a lot of water that comes in and gets dumped back to the sewer system. So getting rid of that system, and I'll let Brian touch on the chiller piece of it that we're going to be installing on this to prevent that in the future. Significant cost savings there. As the mayor mentioned, we are going to be working with Duke Energy to see what kind of rebates or cash incentives, exactly how that works out from Duke Energy, making significant improvements like we are planning in the HVAC side of things. Majority of it is HVAC. Some of it is electrical, upgrading the electrical system, making sure everything is as efficient as it can be there. We expect to see some cost savings there as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian. He can touch specifically on some of the energy efficiency items.
In addition to what Adam described, so there is a new boiler plant that's generating the heating capacity for the whole building. Those new boilers are about 98% max efficiency. They do have a slightly variable efficiency, but 98% max, whereas the existing boilers are about 80% efficient. So the overall gas consumption does come down. I don't have specific dollar cost estimates for any of these this evening, but that's something that we could generate if you want to see kind of the cost averaging over a period of time. So that's on the hot water side. The heating side. On the chiller side, to expand on that a little bit more, so you no longer have that geothermal type conductor for cooling. So you are generating your own cooling with the new chillers, but it is a higher efficiency unit compared to kind of a standard run-of-the-mill type of unit that you use now. I'm just an architect, not an engineer, so I'm trying to translate for them, but there's overall lower flow rates in the chiller, meaning that because things are moving more slowly and you're moving less volume of liquid, valves get smaller, piping gets smaller, and pumps get smaller in particular, so you lessen the operational cost of the chiller just automatically. In addition to that, this chiller has what we call heat recovery. So heat that would otherwise just be kind of let off or rejected during the cooling process, the chiller will recapture that. It allows us to kind of reheat conditioned air so that we can lower humidity overall within the building, especially kind of within the same process, so that we're using that recovered heat to give you better comfort for the same or less cost than if you had to just condition that air more. The pumps that work with that system, so that hot and chilled water is moved through the building by a pump system. Your existing pumps do not have what we call VFDs, those variable frequency drives. So as the demand for heating or cooling increases or decreases throughout the day, depending on where the sun is and other staffing loads and things like that, these pumps will actually ramp up or ramp down to kind of meet that load. So you're just working more smartly with how you're running those pumps throughout the day. So there's energy savings throughout that heating and cooling system in those ways. In addition to that, I mentioned the window replacement earlier. They are significantly thermally improved windows from the existing windows. We have insulated glass with low E coatings in the new windows. The frames for the windows have an insulation within them that you just don't get in the age and style of window that you currently have. Again, this isn't modeled in a specific way for this building, but with similar replacements. If you look at national studies for these types of upgrades, they would say that you would save 4 to 6% throughout the year on the heating side and cooling side because of the additional efficiency of those windows. We talked a little bit about power. You will have lighting upgrades throughout, so essentially all LED lighting throughout the facility from now on, which usually has a pretty significant impact on electrical bills for a building of this size. Additionally, on the electrical side, not necessarily from a efficiency standpoint, but from a resiliency standpoint, the building will now be able to be connected to a portable generator. In the event of a power outage, we are replacing all of the electrical gear, the main electrical gear in the building, so you would be less likely to have breaker failures and other nuisance issues with the electrical system overall. There's new data cabling throughout and a new secure server location. So kind of all around a little bit more secure and what the industry kind of calls more resilient building in the event of any issues related to those types of systems. So that covers my notes on the efficiency side.
So unless there's any questions, we'll move on to Amy. Amy can talk through a little bit of the renderings. We've got a couple of them here for you. There's rendering of the first floor, main lobby area. Again, different view of the same thing. You got second floor lobby area, rendering of council chambers.
Real fast, what's the square foot of this building? Just, okay, thanks.
I think that's essentially the update we've got or the presentation. So if there's any questions, we'd have to answer any of those. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so ceiling height's definitely something. I don't know if Amy wants to talk about some of the struggles on the first floor, but ceiling heights on the first floor are very minimal. trying to keep them roughly the same. Some of the benefit it's kind of a trade-off. Right now, all of the HVAC units, the geothermal units, are stuffed up in the ceilings above all the offices. So in spaces where we've been able to, we've raised the ceiling a little, not much. First floor, basically a wash, I believe, not a whole lot of it. So, but the first floor is already a shorter floor than the other two. Insulation-wise, majority of the exterior walls are brick and block, so there's not a lot of room to add significant amounts of insulation there. We have looked at the insulation in the attic, areas where new interior walls or that kind of thing. Yeah, basically we're adding it where we need to meet code and that kind of thing. So majority of the roof is actually in really good shape. Doesn't need an update. There's one section of flat roof that we are gonna essentially re-roof that section. It is an older section that hasn't seen any substantial updates. We're also putting one piece of HVAC equipment on that roof. So before we do that, or as part of that process, that's the best time to do that. Some masonry cleaning and some exterior tuck pointing will occur on this building to shore up a few spots, but overall, the majority of the shell of this building is in good shape. The addition or the replacement of the windows is a needed step, but most of the roof is actually in really good shape. Yes. Yeah, short answer is yes. We went through probably 4 iterations, I believe, of flooring and finish options. Bart & Co. brought us first round of samples. We had them laid out in the building, or I took them around to various offices, said, give us your thoughts, give us your feedback. We worked through that, made some changes, got new samples. But yes, essentially, all the offices, all current staff in this building has had a chance to give their input on office layouts for their individual offices, finishes, paint color, flooring type, all of that kind of thing. So yes, everybody's been asked there. We are looking to update the seating arrangement here, but keeping some of this to, pay homage to what this building, what this room used to be, and how it acts. But yes, everybody has had multiple different times. There's been multiple sit-downs with Bart & Co. talking through office layouts, finishes with all the various offices. Everybody was given a chance to give their opinions.
Also, there are some interior features of the building that got covered up over the years. That will be reemphasized in the current engineering office. There's a Corinthian pillar, but it's covered up by drywall and molding, so you can't see it. That kind of thing. So there's some features, you'll see them in some places, like on the second floor there between Christie's office and engineering, there's nice archway and so forth. That'll be preserved, for example.
There is some old tin ceiling and first floor water billing that's all covered up with a drop ceiling. Some of that will be re-exposed, repainted, but
Worth noting, it's existing and already there.
yes, it is existing and already there. It's just been covered.
To Charlie's point, we've been very pragmatic in our finishes and approach to, making sure that this is still focused on serving the taxpayers. And to that point, too, council will be reminded that a big part of what's driving this for us has been with the construction of the new police station and with the reallocation of stationing for firefighters. You know, we have large portions of this building that are not being utilized. And so we're gonna take the higher traffic, higher volume areas for taxpayers and ratepayers, water billing and the clerk's office. Those will be on first floor, so they should be more convenient, more accessible. Installing the desk at the front entrance allows for immediate direction for folks that are coming into the building, often trying to figure out which floor to go to. That'll eliminate a lot of that, as well as improving security.
Do you want to, somebody want to talk a little bit about the timeline, when this starts?
Yeah, so give a little bit of an update on that. With receiving bids, Hagerman just finished their review and interviewing of all of the subcontractors on this. We are at the stage where we are about ready to finalize what is called the guaranteed maximum price of the construction of this. That will be presented to Board of Works at their next Board of Works meeting. Once that agreement is in place, then that kind of kicks off the early phases of construction. It allows Hagerman to then enter into agreements with all their subs and work through that. As the mayor mentioned, we will be relocating during this, hopefully to allow Hagerman to, the more of the building they're allowed to have at one time, the faster construction goes, hopefully. So we're gonna relocate over to the Duke building. During that temporary time, we got possession of that last week. So we're starting to prepare that building for our offices in the meantime. So we expect construction to start within the next month and a half, and go from there.
One of the fun features of this building are you can see when you go out this doorway, you look at the thickness of that wall. It goes all the way down. So all kinds of surprises waiting in there.
For some of the councilmen who weren't here prior to building of the police station, that really got started because we were looking at redoing this building back then, and the team that was put together determined that our real issue was with our police department not having enough room. At the time, we had 30-some police officers and 2,000 square feet. So we moved forward with the police station and put the renovation of the city hall on hold. So we're many years past that now. So now this is coming up again. The police station turned out really well. So see if you can match or one-up them.
So, council members, there's no action this evening, but do appreciate feedback on the project as we go forward from here. To give you a sense of the funding approach to this, of course, council's reminded that, you know, over the years, in response to the economic downturn following COVID, there was the ARPA dollars, and so the city has ARPA funds that will be utilized on this project. I would propose that the city utilize the 2025 GEO bonds in total on this project, and then also a smaller portion of the 2024 lease revenue bonds. There will be some funds that we can pull from general and potentially from TIF, as well as from the employee health benefits line item for some of the improvements to the employees that are in this that are eligible for that. So we'll bring you that formal breakdown for formal appropriation from the funds that do need it. But again, if council has discomfort with any of that, it'd be great to speak up and let us know, because we'll adjust where we're pulling funds from. But we do have the resources on hand to move forward from the efforts and steps that we've taken over the previous few years. Anything else at this time? Thank you. Next item on the agenda, any petitions or comments from citizens this evening, Charlie? No. Christie, anything we've received? Okay. Next item under old business is second and final reading of ordinance 3C26. Christie?
Ordinance 3C26, this ordinance, if adopted, would amend the official zoning map of the city of Huntington by changing the zoning of a specified parcel of real estate located north of Waterworks Road, east of Etna Avenue, west of Willow Bend, and south of Schultz Drive from B2 business to R1 residential to entirely R2 residential.
Is there a motion to bring ordinance 3C26 to the floor for second and final reading?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Keplinger is in the back if you have any questions, but again, council be reminded this is second and final reading, so if there's not any questions, then we'll open for discussion. Okay, not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption on second and final reading of ordinance 3C26. Christie?
Felton?
Yes.
Funk? Johnson?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Rensberger?
Yes.
Brodigan?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Thank you. Not aware of any new business before the council this evening. Any miscellaneous items for the good of the order? Reminder for council members, if you're able to join us, April 14th at 3 p.m. will be the groundbreaking at Hunjing America's facility at River Fork West. Great step forward for us economically. You're all invited. Not aware of anything else for the good of the order. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Have a great evening.